This video shows how to assemble our RGB star. Now, a variety of our different stars work basically the same. In this case, we have a single controller, 10 RGB module, single line, and we're just going to show you step by step how to build the entire item, including wiring in the RGB components. Now, what you receive here, you can purchase just the Coro, and the Coro includes the top, which is translucent Coro white, and then there's a base, and the base has scribed on it the outline for the star itself. You can see that that matches up, and the path, including holes indicating where to place the RGB modules. It also comes with strain reliefs for mounting or hanging the star. Now, it also comes with sections of vertical Coro, and that is used to build up the side. And so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be building up a three-dimensional side, and this is going to diffuse the light, giving us a nice, even, smooth color. Now, what we're going to do is first start off by assembling the electronics necessary to do this. Now, it's pretty simple. If you're using our kit, we include a DMX controller. This is a 3-channel DMX controller. And you'll also receive 10 RGB modules. Now, you may also wish to purchase some Cat5 cable. Now, you can wire it up in any way you want, but we use a Cat5 system of power and DMX over the single cable. And you can also use splitters. Now, a few other minor things you'll need. Either hot glue, or in this case we have shrink wrap tubing, and those will seal up our connections for the power and data. You'll also need a few other minor tools. We have a blowtorch that allows us to shrink the shrink wrap tubing. We have a knife, a nice sharp knife for cutting the Coro, and strippers. And this is also used to make sure we get nice, clean, straight cuts. And that's just a framing strip. All right, so let's get started. Now, what we want to do is go ahead. We've got our 10 RGB modules, and we're just going to wire them up to the RGB output. The RGB output contains 4 wires. They're red, green, blue, and in this case, white. And here we have, for the input of the power on the RGB modules, we have red, green, blue, and yellow. Now, all you have to do is match up the yellow and the white, and we're good to go. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and just slide on some shrink wrap tubing before I start soldering. Now, you can just use straight hot glue. You don't have to necessarily use shrink wrap. Okay, so I'm simply just going to put this up to there, touch it for a brief second, and you can see it just takes right on there. Sometimes this can take a little bit of finesse getting these soldered without a holder, but usually you can do it just fine. So, and my yellow goes to my white. That's my common anode. All right, so there we've wired up. You can see that we've got our red, green, blue, and our white and yellow wires. I'm just simply going to give a little bit of heat. And there we go. That portion is now complete. Now, I'm on the end here. I'm going to go ahead and trim off these wires because we don't need them. We're just going to input power at one end. Now we need to turn our focus to getting the data and the power into this controller. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go ahead and cut off these wires so that they're the same approximate length. I'm just going to pull off the outer coating or sheathing of this wire carefully without stripping or nicking the inside wires. And we have 2 wires here, the bigger 2 wires, the power wires. That's going to be our 12-volt power in. And then we have 3 wires here. We have a ground, which is the black, and I'm just going to go ahead and cut that off because we don't generally use that in our environment. And we have a red and blue, which is our data signal. All right. Now, what I'm going to do is first just tin these, which just means putting a little solder on that, just so they'll take, when I bind them together, the Cat5 cable and these wires, they'll go together correctly. All right, so we've got some solder on that. Now I'm going to take my Cat5 cable. I've just got a short section of Cat5 cable, and we're going to use our power injector in this example. So what I'm going to do is I've already stripped off the sheathing of this Cat5 cable, and we sell these for less than $1. Let's see here. So what we're going to do is the orange pair is going to be our data pair. That's where DMX is going to be coming down. Now we have blue, brown, and green. We're going to be taking the solid blue, solid brown, and solid green, and we're going to be wrapping them together so that they form one wire. Now, why do we do that? That is going to form our negative, hence the solid. All right, now, all right, so I've got one single bundle of wires. I'm just going to cut them off so they're all the same length, and then I'm going to strip them so I get to all 3 wires. And we do this so that the power is concentrated into the 3 pairs of wires as opposed to just a single pair, and we get more current carrying capacity. All right, and let me also strip off our day signal, which is our orange pair, and we're going to have that separated. All right, all I'm going to do is, again, just hit this with a little bit of solder. Okay, now what I need to do, cut off a little bit more shrink wrap tubing. And we need to put that on before we solder. And we're going to be soldering the twisted groups of wires, the power wires, together with the power input on the DMX controller. So we have the solid wires. They're the ones without the white stripe. The solid wires are going to go to the black wire if you use our wiring system. And the red wire will go to the wires, the green, blue, and brown wire. That is one with the one with the stripes, or the white wire. All right, I may need to trim that up just a hair there. All right, we're going to slide that on there. All right, now we want to go ahead and do our data wires. Now using standard DMX E111, what we're going to do is go ahead and take our wires on here. So we have a blue wire, and the blue wire is going to go to the solid orange wire. The blue wire will go to the solid orange wire. And the red wire will go to the white orange wire, or the orange white wire, or the wire with the orange with the white stripe. Okay, so again, blue to solid orange, red to orange with white stripe. Now, just give that a little hit with the power, or with the flame to put that in place. All right, now we are actually all done here with our electrical portion. And in fact, actually, if we were to go ahead and hook this up with just power, you can see that it'll go ahead and use the built-in default sequence. All right, so now that we know that works, we'll go ahead and set that aside and start constructing our star. Now what we're going to do is we're going to start with the top. Now it doesn't matter which side, just start with the top. You might want to give some consideration as to when you do finally mount it, which is the up and the down, because this is the up facing upward. This is the bottom with a 2 on the bottom. All right, now what we're going to do is simply just take our Coro strips, and we're going to simply trim them so that they fit along these edges. So what I'm going to do, go ahead, I'm just going to take a marker, and I'm just going to eyeball it. And I'm just going to put a little mark on here. Take my framing square, and I'm just going to use my knife and cut it. And you can see that we've got a side here now. Now, what you can do is, because they're all exactly the same equal length, you simply just go down the line, set this in place, and cut each one. Now, it's a star, so a star of course has 5 lines on it. 5 points, and U means you will need 10 total because they're 2 on each side. So I'm going to go ahead, cut the remaining 10, and then be back in just a second. All right, we've cut up our different sections here. Now, one little thing to keep in mind when you're cutting them, cut them a little bit short, because if you do run into the edge here, you will need to run 2 of them together. So just run them a little bit shorter than you would normally go the entire length. Now, I've cut them all. I've even actually already glued some in place. Let me show you how we do that. Simply just take your board and run a bead of hot glue down the bottom. And set it in place. Now, when you are setting these down, if you have an adjustable hot glue gun, like this particular model allows me to set the temperature, set it so it's on the lower side, just so that it's melting, but not so much that you're having problems with it setting up. Also, if you do get it on your fingers, those lower temperatures won't hurt as bad. Now, I am using our AdTech hot glue, which sticks wonderfully to Coro. This is the medium variety that they sell. And all I'm doing here is gluing these along the edge. And when I'm done, I just simply come back, put a little bit of hot glue in the corners here. Doing my best to make sure that we keep them vertical. All right. And you can see this goes together fairly quick. Put some more on here. Now, if you end up where they're too long, you can trim them. Just wait for the glue to set up. And simply just come back and cut them with a sharp knife. Okay, almost there. All right. Again, having these set up, if you have a cooler glue set on your glue, or colder setting set on your hot glue gun, will help out. Now here you can see that I've gone over, and that's not going to be a problem. I'll come back and I'll just simply trim that off. Now you can also, if necessary, come back, just use a little tape while you're building it, and you can actually just put some tape in there and it'll hold it in place. So it looks like we're going to be good for that one. And I put in our last section here. Actually, in our case here, I'm just going to turn this off a little bit. Okay, put some glue here on the corner. And on this edge. Okay. All right, so we've now completed the assembly. Just let it set up. Again, if you need to go back, you can trim off any excess glue, and you're done. Okay, now we have our complete 3D top. You can see that it's ready to go, and that will be fashioned onto the base here. But before we do that, we need to, of course, get our electronics in here. So we've already built those, so this is a pretty simple build. Let's just start off by pulling the cable through here. And what we're going to do is start by gluing down our controller. And again, we're just going to use the Aztec glue. This stuff will hold the controller just fine. I'm just going to put some glue on the back here and simply just put it into place. You can see that it's already marked for you. Alright, now all we have to do is simply go around, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off by removing the tape off the back of these. This tape is not sufficiently strong enough to ensure that it's held in place and will weather the temperatures and those types of things. So we're just going to go ahead and remove that. So all 10 pieces here. Alright, so what we're going to do, simply just take some hot glue, put it on the back, line it up with those little module holes. Now this outside line is where we will be putting our top, so we don't want to put anything in there. So again, just put a little bit of hot glue and match it up with the holes. And we simply just go all the way around until we have all 10 LED modules on here. And I'll go ahead and do that now. Alright, now we have our electronics mounted to the board. We're just going to give it a check to make sure that everything is working correctly before we glue down the top. So we're just going to put a little power in here. You can see that they all light up. Alright, now we can set the address later. We'll have no problem doing that after we get the top on. Now we're just going to do a test fit, make sure everything is okay. We can see that the Coro is matching up on the bottom. And this is pretty simple. All we have to do is simply get some glue here. Now we're going to have to glue down quite a bit all at once. So you may find actually turning up the temperature will work better. Allows you to get a longer working time. And we're just simply going to go in here, go around the outside, just put it right there on the edges. Okay, now what we're going to do, take this over. Now you may want to make sure that you line these up so that the Coro is going the same direction. So in this case, we have the top here and the striations are going horizontally, and so I'm going to match that up to this here. So I'm going to simply just put this down, check to make sure everything is lined up, and set it in place. And it doesn't have to be exact. These lines on here are just for guidance. If it doesn't line up perfectly, that's perfectly okay. And simply just apply some pressure to it while it sets up. And once it's set up, you'll be able to go ahead and apply power. Let's go ahead and apply some power. And turn off the lights. And you can get an idea what it looks like. As you can see, this is a quick and easy project, and these are very versatile. They can be used on fences, on the ground, on your roof, on your walls, all kinds of different places.